So welcome to class 4 of our little class simulation class series here with Bento Buddy and the Starmesh developer kit. This is where we ended up last time, and I know a few of you had issues getting from A pose to T pose, and let me say it one more time just to make sure. This little button needs to be turned on when you move from A pose to T pose, else you get in trouble where your sleeves won't follow your armature when you move it. So turn that on. Also remember to scale your model down from the 20 times, so S 0.05 to get back to the original size. And third, remember to apply your transforms before you start trying to skin anything. So those three are very important, but that was just a comment on my previous video. Now we need to move on. This here is skinned now, and we have the issues at the shoulders that needs fixing, but I'm going to leave that for now because I want to show you a few things. Now it's not that now you've got the skin, this is set in stone, you can't change your mesh from now on. Sure you can. While a mesh is skinned, you can add geometry if you add edge loops. Let me get out of this mode so we can see what we are doing. So if you add an edge loop here, that's fine. Nothing will change and everything will move with your skinned mesh still. But if you extrude, like here, adding geometry this way, then you will need to reskin your jacket. And I want to show you how to add ruffles on this jacket, and you can't do that just adding edge loops here. So we will need to reskin this, and that means I might as well apply my armatures here and remove the vertex groups because I'm going to do all this again, and I'm going to do it on the top and hang on, apply first. I'm going to do it on top as well, and I forgot if I skinned the panties, did I? No. Okay, so I removed everything now. They don't move with the armature now. Look, only the body. But I wanted ruffles. And the reason I'm showing you is that ruffles are a little bit difficult to make. Both if you're modeling them, but also if you are class simulating them, but it is possible. And once you know a few tricks, it's not that hard to do. So I want to add a little plane that I can make into ruffles. Now, right now I have my cursor down here, and that's great. If I had it somewhere else, you'd need to do Shift-C to get it down there. And then you just do Shift-A, Mesh, Plane, and go to Edit mode. And we need to scale it down a little bit, and then bring it up, GZ, up here. And if I go to top mode, it's a little easier to see what I'm doing. So I want to scale it on Y. Something like that, bring it back a bit. I'm trying to get it placed here at the back of her neck. That's very close, perhaps a little bit too close, because I need to be able to select this and not select the sleeves at some point later on. So somewhere around there might work. And then I need to scale it on X. This is going to be my ruffles, but I haven't told you where I want to place them yet. Let me go back to object mode and select the jacket and go into edit mode here. I want ruffles going from around that vertex and all the way around behind the neck here, back here, and down to here. And the distance there is shorter than the distance here, and that's good because we need ruffles. That means we need extra fabric to have it fold like that in a wave-like pattern. But as always when we're doing this, we need to keep track on our vertices, how many we got there. So let me turn on statistics so we can see what we're doing, and then I need to select my vertices all the way around here. I'm holding Control and left clicking to select the vertices around here, and sometimes it goes wrong like there. Sometimes it goes wrong because it's just selecting the shortest way. from the vertex I have selected to the one I'm clicking. So we have 31 vertices here. And that means we need 31 vertices up here to match it when we're sewing. But first of all, let's make a vertex group for this. Call it Ruffle. That's going to be my sewing line at some point. Now we got it on the jacket. We need it to fit up here. 31. Okay, going back here into edit mode. So right now I have 2. 1, 2. So I need 29 more along this edge here. The easiest way is by adding edge loops. So if I do Control R, I can't see what I'm doing here, sorry. Let's do that. And try again. Control R. There's an edge loop. Click once and then one more time to set it, and then I get my little pop-up window here, and I said I need 29 to get 31 in all the way here. Let's check. 31, so that's fine. Okay, we might as well join those two meshes now. So if I select that one and shift select that one and then hit Control J, then we have the meshes joined. And because I selected the jacket the last, we end up with the name here right still. Okay, back to edit mode. Since I have that one selected now, I might as well assign it. So we have the ruffle sewing thingy here, and then I can select it all and more geometry. I need more geometry down here because I need more sewing points, and that means I'm going to create some indguns here. Usually I would not recommend this, but I have tested this at least 5 times now, and they're not going to pose any problems for us. So here we go. Right click is for subdivide just once. So we got extra vertices down here, and let's check what's part of our sewing thingy now. Select. So all the new vertices we made down here are still part of it. Unfortunately we got this extra edge loop there too, so let's remove that one. That works. I also want an extra edge loop here, and as far as I know that's going to be added to this one now, so we need to remove that as well. Remove. So now it's right. Okay, so this is where we're sewing it to the jacket, and then we have some geometry now here so we can have it bend a bit, so it's not just standing right up when we sew it to it. It can bend. That's why we have that edge loop and that edge loop. But I also want this part of the ruffle to be even more flowy than the rest of it. I want that bending pattern like a wave all the way around here, or along this this edge, and that means I need more geometry, but only on that one, only on that edge loop. So right click, subdivide one more time. Now that looks really dense, but with ruffles you do need the geometry. So even though that's annoying, there's not really two ways about it. So if I select the 2 edge loops here, because I want to anchor those floating vertices here now, because I don't mind the end guns down here. I'm not too thrilled about them here. So I'm going to face and then triangulate faces. Now they're anchored somehow, and we have a ton of triangles now here too. And usually that would be a problem, but I think I got the geometry I need here now, so I don't need to model anything on top of this. So triangles are okay. And if I look at my UV map for this thing, if I go to face select and hover over this and hit L, I get the entire ruffle thingy there. And if you look here, it's all already unwrapped, because I started with the plane, and the plane is always automatically unwrapped to the square texture space. And because I just added edge loops and subdivide, and not really modeled anything here, my UV map is actually intact, so I don't have to worry about getting this unwrapped. It already is, which is great, because usually that is a bit of a problem. But I'm ready here now. Let's go back to Vertex select. I need to do the sewing now. So select, and then do you remember? Right click, L, B, X, N. See? So we got our sewing lines and they're not twisted or anything. So in theory we're ready to cloth simulate now. Let me go to object mode. We're not quite ready yet, let's just say that, because I want this one to be a collision object. The friction is fine. I also want the body to be a collision object, and the friction is a bit high here, so let me set that to 0.01 as well. And then my cloth is ready. And what do I say before we cloth simulate? Always save. It's not my starting point any longer, so let me call it class 4.1. Save. Okay, so we want this to be a cloth. First let's make a timeline so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. And then cloth. Okay. Now I don't want everything here to move when we are cloth simulating, but it's one mesh, so unless I do something it will all move, and I don't want the jacket to move, only the ruffles. So we need to do something. If I go to face select, hover and hit L, I get the ruffle, and then if I go Control I get the opposite selection. That means now I got all the jacket. And if I go to vertex select, you can see I got it all here, I think. And now I can go to my vertex groups again, and now I want a pinning group. Let's call it pin and assign. And since I know that in a little bit I will want to make an elastic here on that seam, I might as well make the vertex group for it now. So let's call that elastic and assign that as well. Okay, back to object mode and our cloth simulation, and let's set this up. Now the jacket is pinned, or well, it's not yet, but we will in a moment here, and that means only this one will move. But we need some quality steps up. I want my vertex mass really low because I want this piece of fabric to be really flowy and alive and easily movable. That also means I need to turn the stiffness down. I set it to 2 and the bending to 0.2. I set the damping to 2 and the bending to 0.2 as well. Never mind the internal springs and the pressure. Oh, not the pressure. The cache, I'm setting that to 500. I'll remember to set it here as well. Now what I'm doing now, it will be really hard to do the bake, because I'm going to simulate for a little bit, stop it, change the settings over here, start it again, see what happens, stop it, change the settings here again, start it, and so on and so forth. And if you bake, you get all 500 frames before you can see what you're doing here. So I'm not baking this time. Shape, here we go. I need to pin my group. So as long as I have this one here, the jacket won't move anywhere. I do need to be sewing. Now when we sew the top and the jacket, we had a sewing force at 26. Right now I just want 1, because I'm not in a hurry to get this sewn to the edge here. I want all the ruffle stuff happening on the way. But I don't need the shrinking factor. And then we have these collisions. We still want those high quality. I'm not touching the object collisions, but the self collisions. The distance 0.045 seems to be good. The friction, I think I will keep at 0.1. Yeah. And then we have the property weights, and that's my elastic that I want to have here. So because this length of fabric is much longer than what's around here, I assume. I don't know. I think it is. I want it to shrink a little bit here to fit here. So I do the elastic and then the max shrinking at around 0.5. Okay, so I'm going to test this. Before I do, I need to shade this smooth. So right click, shade smooth. And then as I wrote over here with my cloth simulation, I'm going to manipulate the vertex mass a lot. The stiffness and damping we changed to get the lively fabric, and we pinned the jacket. We set the sewing force for fairly low, and then we made the elastic. So we're ready to simulate now, and when we do this, I will mostly be playing with the vertex mass now. Let's see what happens. Actually, yeah, let's see what happens here. Let's turn it on. See? That's no good. No good at all. Stop. Stop. Back to 1. Now, why did that happen? If I select all these, no, let's select body, go to our side panel and item. We are still at 1 meter and 49, which means we are down at our original size, and that is not working with cloth simulation. So let me select it all. I'm on the original here, but I think it will be fine. So I need to scale up is 20 again, because we are working with cloth simulation. Okay, now we should be good for our first test run now. I know I need to stop it and do this again, but let's just see what happens now. So, start. And it's very clear that size matters here. Okay, stopping it. I'm stopping it as soon as the ends here are sewn to the jacket. If you look here, you can see there's some intersection going on here. That's not good. And also this part here is very repetitive, and there's not much randomness going on. I mean, I do want this pattern in some way, shape or form when I do ruffles, but this looks too repetitive, so I need to fix that. So go back to 0 and go to edit mode, and then we have a look at this. Let's go to top view. This is why I move this a little bit back, because I need to be able to select parts here now. Right now it's all straight and nice. If I want some randomness introduced, I need to move these things. So top view, grab on Y, and just make a little bit of mess here. Just a little bit, to not have it be so terribly straight there. And this will mess with the textures, but as long as we keep it fairly, just a little bit of a change, I think it will be fine. And then we had some intersection over here. It was like this part got sewn on before this part, and that was not a good look. We don't want intersecting parts of our ruffles if we can manipulate it and avoid it. So I'm just going to try do this to try control which part sews on to the jacket first. Okay, back to object mode. We're still at 0.1 for the ruffle here, and let's try start it. And I'm keeping an eye on that end there. Okay, stop. I think that worked. There's no intersecting here now. This still looks a bit repetitive, but there's some introduction of some not quite as regular here. We got it sewn on more or less. It's very stiff, as you can see, and that's because our fabric weighs nothing. The vertex mass is 0.1. So if I turn this up to, for example, 1, we should get a much softer and a little bit heavier fabric. So let's, instead of going back to 0 now, I'm just continuing from now, because I have it moved into the form I want now. I just need it to relax a little bit. So let's try simulate again. And stop. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a little bit stiff right there still, but all in all, it's progressing right. I'm going to turn the vertex mass up even a little bit more. Let's say let's try 2 and simulate a little bit more. As you can see, it's flattening out a little bit. It's moving here. That's what I want. Stop. I like all this up here. That's looking fine. I'm not sure I like that one, but all in all, this is okay. I think I'm going to stay with this. So at frame 218, I think I'm fine with this. If I'm happy with what I got here, I can go here and apply my cloth. And now if I move back to 0, nothing happens. I do want another material on this. So now I can go to edit mode. I couldn't before, but since it's applied, I can go to edit mode now and add a material, call it Ruffles. I'd like to use nodes, and that means I need a shader editor. I don't need the timeline any longer, so I can just turn this into a shader editor. And here's my material. Right now it's blue for some reason. Oh, that's because I haven't assigned it yet. So let's go to face select and then select the Ruffles here and then assign. And now it just turns this color. I think I don't know what color I want. Yellow, perhaps. Why is it not changing? Use nodes, thank you. So there they are. We're not done yet. Let me get rid of that one. I need to attach this because as you can see there's a gap here. And if I was bold, I could do it with merge by distance. But for sure, I'm not going to do it with everything selected like this. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it where I select my sewing lines only. And then I can try do it. M by distance. And then I can control it here. Turning it. No. See? That won't work. So, no. So, there's only one way, and that's manually, which is annoying. But then I know I'm going to connect it right. So, I'll speed that part up while I'm connecting vertices here. Okay, so it's all connected now. I don't know if I remember to tell you, but if I'm selecting 2 vertices and hitting M to merge somehow, once I've done it once, I can just hit Shift R and it will repeat my action, so I don't have to choose merge all the way. Now, one thing here, I don't know if I think I actually avoided it this time, but all the other times I tested this, I consistently accidentally chose some random vertex back here and merged in with something here, like that one, and then I went merge, and you won't see that at first until suddenly you got a hole in your mesh here. So once you've done an operation like that, go to set and check that you don't have any vertices doing that spike thing, because that needs fixing before we go on. So now I made one here on purpose, and if you want to get it back where it belongs, you need to hit V to split it off, and then you can move it back. And remember to change your perspective here, or your line of sight, because it's really hard to bring it back if you only see it from one side. So it's important to move around a bit until you're sure it's back in place. Okay, I think I got it. and I can go back out of wireframe, hitting set again. Okay, so we got our ruffles here now. Let me get back to the texture view.